So here we are in the second week of Lent. And I'd like to continue going back to the 25th chapter of Matthew's Gospel, particularly the end of that Gospel that I mentioned last week. It starts with verse 35. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink, a stranger, and you welcomed me, naked, and you clothed me, ill, and you cared for me, in prison, and you visited me. Now, in our Catholic tradition, we would refer to those events, those statements, as the corporal works of mercy, taking care of our corporal needs, the needs of our body, our physical needs. And so what I would like to do with the next couple of reflections moving forward is to pick those verses apart a little bit and move forward one at a time, but move forward in a different sort of way to begin that travel together as companions along this journey to a deeper and different understanding of those words of Scripture. Let's think about this just a bit. What do you think of when you hear, I was hungry and you fed me? You gave me something to eat. Well, if we look at just the surface level of those words of Christ, we understand that someone was starving, someone was very hungry, and someone in their generosity, in mercy, reached out with some sort of food. But yet, what are those people truly hungry for? Let's take a look at that level. Yes, we can satisfy physical hunger. We do it very well. In our parish, we donate monthly supplies of food to local food banks. Every month, there are hundreds of pounds of donations that are taken either to Dillsburg or to Mechanicsburg. And I know the people who receive those donations are extremely grateful. We hear a lot about that. But let's look beneath that. Let's look at a different kind of suffering. And in that suffering, let's remember where we've come from these previous months. We've come from looking at light and darkness into now taking a look at this particular gospel reading. Suffering is darkness. And what can help lead us out of darkness, no matter what type of suffering an individual is going through, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's people we have yet to meet, what can help to bring about light in the midst of that suffering is that companionship we talked about last week, and we will continue to take a look at as we move forward. I was hungry, and you fed me. Have you ever been hungry for friendship? Hungry for fitting in, feeling accepted? Have you ever hungered for someone to just be friends, someone to love you, someone to understand what it is that you're going through, someone to just sit and listen when you are hungry for attention, when you are hungry and starved even for affection? Those people who have that type of hunger, and we all do, we all have had that at some point in our lives, are struggling and are in need of our companionship. They are in need of the light of Christ that only we can bring and share to others. Sometimes it's us who are hungry for those types of things, who are hungry for those relationships. We are hungry for that friendship. We are hungry to be welcomed into the kingdom, into the community. I challenge you this week to take a look around. Many people keep this type of hunger very well hidden. It's not as easy to hide it. Physical hunger, you can obviously hear a growling stomach, or you can see the physical signs of someone whose blood sugar levels have dropped, perhaps, or, they've got some dark circles under their eyes because they haven't eaten in a while. But those who hunger for those other things, those other emotional needs, the stability, the emotional feeling of being wanted, those types of hunger are very easy to miss, and we need to keep our eyes open to those. As we are walking this journey together, as we are traveling on this journey as companions together, we need to be sure we are on the lookout for those types of hunger, that we are open and paying attention and listening to those nudges from God, listening to those little suggestions that say, she's looking a little lonesome. Why don't you go say hello? That person seems to be a bit sad today. Perhaps you can just say hello. That person over there really looks like they could use a friend. And I've noticed that every time this particular individual comes to Mass, they sit alone and they just have such a sad look about them. Keep your eyes open for those cues, but also be willing to share those things about yourself with others, because it is only in sharing our own needs and our own hunger that we become fed in order to be able to feed others. Be that light, be that companion that helps to bring people out of the darkness of suffering, of hunger. And yes, keep donating to those food drives every month, because that is, of course, a serious need this time of year, just this time in general with everything that's been going on around us. So yes, those things need to continue. But keep your eyes open for those who hunger in a deeper sense, those whose hunger cannot be alleviated with a great sandwich, but whose hunger needs to be taken care of by a true friend, a true companion, someone to walk the journey side by side and lead them to Jesus. Pray for me. I pray for you. And blessings from St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.